everyone. I'm Lisa, the Vocaloid who narrates the Meditation Museum's audio guide system. The Meditation Museum is approaching its 36th anniversary of the completion of its first exhibition hall, the Meditation Hall. Since the amalgamation of 8 separate towns and villages, including the former Toga village, into Nento City, the majority of the city's exhibition halls and tourist facilities have been forced to close. The Meditation Museum has withstood the COVID-19 pandemic and depopulation in the area. However, due to the change of generations, few staff members remain who have any knowledge about the opening of the museum. Therefore, I've decided to summarize the Meditation Museum's 36-year history in this video content. If you're interested, please watch to the end. I hope you will continue to support the Toga Meditation Museum. Toga village in the Gokayama region of Toyama Prefecture has been attracting nationwide attention due to its bold revitalization efforts, including a performance by the Scott Theatre at Toga Sanbo, a reformed Gasho-style house. The village has also planned an international exchange event centered around the local specialty, buckwheat. It will be sending a delegation to the Himalayan region of Nepal, where buckwheat is said to originate. In 1989, when the Japanese imperial era changed from Showa to Heisei, a delegation from Toga village, led by Mayor Miyazaki, visited Tokuche village in the Mustang region of Nepal and signed a friendship and cooperation agreement. At that time, the delegation from Toga village was guided to the village temple and was so impressed by the brilliantly colored murals that they requested Sashida Tulachen, a Buddhist painter from Tokuche village, to paint a mandala in their village as well. So in the autumn of 1989, Sashidoji Tulachen and his assistant visited Toga village and began work on a huge Buddhist painting measuring 4 meters squared. The painting includes the mandalas of the 100 peaceful and wrathful deities. The following year, his younger brother Chakradoji Tulachen and his wife joined them in Toga village. At that time, there was no place in the village with enough space to paint a Buddhist painting this size, so the staff leaned the canvas against the wall in the culture center, the only place in the village that could be built the size of half a basketball court, and began working on the painting on a cart. The 4 gigantic Buddhist paintings that Sashidoji Tulachen created at this time, the mandala of 42 peaceful deities, the mandala of 58 wrathful deities, the Pure Land of Amitabha Buddha, and the 11-headed thousand-armed Avalokiteshvara, are on display on the 4 sides, east, west and north-south, of the exhibition room on the 2nd floor of the Meditation Hall. They were completed in 1991. Meanwhile, Osaka hosted the International Garden and Greenery Exposition, commonly known as the Flower Expo, in 1990. Toga village purchased Buddhist statues of Hindu deities, and gazebos called satyrs that had been on display in the Nepal Pavilion and moved them to Meditation Museum. In 1992, at the World Buckwheat Expo held in Toga village, Sashi and other volunteers from Tokuche village performed a Tibetan Buddhist religious dance called Chom on a special stage, attracting a large audience. The Chom mask made at this time was donated to Meditation Museum and is currently on display on the 1st floor of the Meditation Hall. The mandalas of 42 peaceful deities and 58 wrathful deities created by Sashi are the fundamental mandalas of the Nyingma school of Tibetan Buddhism, to which Sashi belongs, but they were virtually unknown in Japan. However, in September 1993, a special program on the Tibetan Book of the Dead was broadcast on NHK, which caused a great stir. The Tibetan Book of the Dead teaches that the 42 peaceful deities and 58 wrathful deities appear one after the other in the consciousness of the deceased. So in 1994, when the exhibition The World of the Book of the Dead and Tibetan Painting Present Day was held at Fujitavanti in Yogi, scaffolding was erected in front of the 42 deities mandala to film video content to be screened at video booth, and Nyingma Rinpoche, a reincarnated Lama of Tibetan Buddhism, recited the Tibetan Book of the Dead. This video was released, and is still shown today on a large TV when special guests visit the museum. Thanks to the popularity of the Tibetan Book of the Dead, the number of visitors and overnight guests to Meditation Museum in a year exceeds the entire population of the village. The village then came up with a plan to have Sashi paint a new mandala and turn it into a tourist attraction. Although Tibetan Buddhism transmits over 100 mandalas, many of which are unknown in Japan. However, the two world mandalas, the Garba mandala and the Vajradhatu mandala, have been passed down in Japan and are enshrined in many Shingon and Tendo temples. In Tibet, however, these two mandalas, the Garba mandala and the Vajradhatu mandala, are passed down separately. It was decided that if Sashi could paint these two mandalas in the traditional Tibetan Buddhist style, it would become a unique Tibetan interpretation of the two-world mandalas. Therefore, in 1994, Toga village sent a new research team to Tukuche village to investigate whether it was possible to create a Tibetan version of the two-world mandala. At the entrance to Kakbani village, upstream from Tukuche village, there was a painting of the omniscient Vairocana mandala, painted by Sashi's father, Kamal Doji Tulachen. The Buddhas painted in the center of this mandala are almost identical to those in the Vajradhatu mandala. Therefore, it was decided that Sashi would first paint the Vajradhatu mandala. Sashi returned to Toga village in 1994 and began working on the Vajradhatu mandala. This time, as it was a mandala he had never painted before, the Meditation Museum collected photographs of 15th-century examples from Tibet, together with various Tibetan documents, and spent a year completing the Vajradhatu mandala. At the same time, construction began on a new exhibition hall to display the Tibetan version of the two-world mandala, which has been named the House of Meditation, Beauty. In Shingon and Tendo temples in Japan, the Garba mandala is hung on the east wall and the Vajradhatu mandala on the west wall. Therefore, at the House of Meditation, Beauty, the Vajradhatu mandala is placed on the west wall. In 1996, the flower mandala, a mandala-shaped flower bed whose construction had begun the previous year, was completed. The point where the pillar stands is likened to the center of the world, the peak of Mount Sumeru, and the shape and color scheme of the mandala are modeled after the world centered on Mount Sumeru. However, the flowers only bloom for several weeks each year, and maintenance is costly, so we are currently considering a new mandala-shaped object. After completing the Vajradhatu mandala, Sashi's mother passed away in Nepal, so he returned to Nepal for a while, but returned in 1997 and completed the Garba Mandala. Of all the works that Sashi painted in Toga village, this was the most outstanding piece, and it has become a masterpiece that is counted among the representative works of his career as a painter. The friendly cooperation between Toga village and Tukuche village has gained a reputation in Nepal, and a film based on this story, Niti Rigan, has been screened in Nepal, Japan, and Bangladesh. This was the first time that a Nepalese film was shot on location overseas. Many of the villagers of Toga village, including Sashi, and staff from Meditation Museum, appear in the film. Since 1998, special exhibitions have been held in the exhibition space on the first floor of the Hall of Meditation during the summer peak season. The first exhibition was the Tibetan Tanka exhibition, which displayed 28 pieces of Tibetan Buddhist art curated by Kanagawa Prefecture-based collector Yamada Mikoto. Yamada's collection was later donated to the Fukui Municipal History Museum. In June 1999, Sashi and chief curator Tanaka Kimiaki visited the Durga printing press in the Gans Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture of Sichuan Province, China, and purchased over 300 Tibetan woodblock Buddhist paintings. In Japan, museums that have a complete collection of the Durga Buddhist woodblock paintings are the Machida City Museum of Graphic Arts in Tokyo and Toga Meditation Museum. Some of the woodblock paintings from the Durga printing press were first exhibited to the public in a special exhibition in 2000. In the summer of 1999, an exhibition of Tibetan Buddhist paintings was held by Atsuro Seto, who studied Tibetan Buddhist painting in Dharamsala, India, the current home of the 14th Dalai Lama. In addition to hand-painted Buddhist paintings, CG works were also on display. The photo shows Atsuro Seto and Professor Pema Gyalpo, director of the Tibetan Culture Center, who attended the opening ceremony. In 2000, Namkai Norbu Rinpoche, who lives in Italy, visited Japan and gave a Tibetan Buddhist transmission at Meditation Museum. The photo shows delegates from the Tibetan Institute of Performing Arts, who were performing at Helios in Fukuno, paying a courtesy visit to Namkai Norbu Rinpoche. In 2001, the Han Cultural Foundation of Korea, for which chief curator Kimiaki Tanaka served as academic consultant, held a touring exhibition in Japan entitled The World of Tanka in Toga Village. It was the largest exhibition ever held in Toga Village. On this occasion, the exhibits were too large to fit in the Meditation Museum, so most of them were displayed in the home of Soaring. In 2002, the museum held its fifth special exhibition, Contemporary Nepalese Buddhist Painters. In addition to works from its collection, the museum also exhibited works by newer Buddhist painters from Kathmandu, with the cooperation of Reverend Takaka Shucho, head priest of Tokuinji Temple in Nagoya, and Mr. Akimoto Shinichiro, who lives in Obihiro. In 2003, the sixth special exhibition, 108 Mandalas of Mitra Yojin, was held. This was a set of 108 mandalas that were transmitted to Tibet by the Indian Mitra Yojin at the end of the 12th century. The chief curator Tanaka recreated the 108 mandalas using computer graphics based on scrolls owned by the Han Cultural Foundation of Korea. However, because the mandalas were printed using a die-ink at the village office, they were removed the following year due to fading. In November of the same year, Meditation Museum's activities were recognized by the Nepal Tourism Board, who recognized it as an honorary public relations representative. In 2004, as part of the Japan-Nepal Friendship Festival, a photo exhibition summarizing the exchanges with Tukuche village was held. We also provided the Ganjir, decorating the roof in CG mandala to be attached to the ceiling of the Friendship Exchange monument erected on the banks of the Toga River. In 2004, the 7th special exhibition featured the collection of Tibetan Buddhist art by Tokyo-based collector Tomoshige Yoshitomo. Although the number of exhibits was small at 16, it included thankas dating back to the 15th century, and some visitors commented that it was a shame to display them in such a rural location. The Tomoshige collection exhibition was subsequently held at the Okura Museum of Art in Tokyo in 2005. In 2005, to commemorate the 10th anniversary of the creation of the Tibetan version of the Two-World Mandala, the 8th special exhibition, The Origin of the Two-World Mandala, was held. On this occasion, the Hasidera version of the Two-World Mandala, owned by the Department of Indian Philosophy and Buddhist Studies at the University of Tokyo, was exhibited alongside the Tibetan version of the Two-World Mandala from the museum's collection. In 2005, the promotional video being shown to visitors at Meditation Museum no longer reflected the current situation, so Sashi was invited to Toga village to record a new video. Sashi's visit to Japan was also featured in the local newspaper, with color photographs. In 2004, Toga village merged with 7 surrounding towns and villages to form Nanto City. The Toga Furusato Foundation, which was funded by the former Toga village, was designated as the manager and operator of the village's tourism and accommodation facilities, including the Meditation Museum. However, the Meditation Museum's operations began to struggle financially, and in 2006, the 108 mandalas by Mitra Yogen, which had been removed due to fading, were reprinted using a durable pigment printer and made into a permanent exhibit. This was the last special exhibition held at Meditation Museum. In 2006, Fujisawa Akira, a resident of Kyoto, donated 64 Hindu statues made in South India to the Toga Furusato Foundation. Initially, they were exhibited at Tenjiku Onsen where the foundation's headquarters are located, but in 2008, the Meditation Museum took over the collection, and they are now on display in the stairwell and exhibition room of the Meditation Hall. In 2015, a performance group of the Tibetan national epic, The Tale of King Gesar, led by Professor Kunchok Tenzin of Southwest University for Nationalities, in Chengdu, visited the Meditation Museum. Before returning home, they donated a thanka of King Gesar, which they had used in the performance, as a gift. After that, Toga Meditation Museum was no longer able to hold special exhibitions due to financial difficulties, but in 2017, all of the woodblock Buddhist paintings from Derge Printing Press were loaned to the Fukumitsu Museum of Art, the flagship museum in Nanto City, and the Derge Printing Press woodblock Buddhist paintings exhibition was held, attracting many visitors from outside the prefecture. The photo shows the opening gallery talk. Furthermore, in 2020, a posthumous photo exhibition by photographer Hiroki Fujita, who photographed Buddhist art in Gandhara, India, Nepal, and Tibet, was organized in collaboration with the Fukimitsu Museum of Art. The Meditation Museum exhibited some of Fujita's photographs of Nepal, including works by Sashi and his father. Unfortunately, the exhibition was postponed until 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but the photo shows Nanto City Mayor Tanaka Mikio and Meditation Village curator Tanaka Kimiaki, who attended the opening. The COVID-19 pandemic also had a major impact on the former village of Toga, and in 2023 the Toga Furusato Foundation was forced to dissolve due to lack of funds. The Meditation Museum was also closed, but in July of the same year, the designated manager was changed to the Toga Regional Development Council, and it was able to reopen. In October of the same year, conference participants of the Japanese Association for Tibetan Studies, which was held at Kanazawa University, visited Meditation Museum, stayed overnight, and viewed the exhibits. Then, in 2025, Mitra Yogin's 108 mandalas, which had faded over the past 20 years, were replaced with new ones, with significant improvements including increased CG resolution and the inclusion of images of the principal deities. The Pocket Curator audio guidance system, which was introduced during the time of the former Toga Furusato Foundation as a way to alleviate the labor shortage, was discontinued due to poor internet connectivity in the area. Therefore, starting in 2025, a Walkman-based audio guidance system, which is not affected by internet connections, was introduced on a trial basis. In addition, in October 2025, a grand ceremony was held to commemorate the 35th anniversary of friendship between Toga Village and Tukuche Village and the 10th anniversary of the founding of the Toyama Nepal Cultural Exchange Association, with Ambassador His Excellency, Durga Bahadur Sabeti of the Federal Republic of Nepal in attendance. After the Toga Furusato Foundation was dissolved in 2023, the Meditation Museum began new initiatives, such as improving its customer base and reopening its accommodation facilities. Furthermore, in 2026, the designated manager was changed to Jikito, and a new system led by director Nakao Hidesato was launched. We hope you will look forward to the future of the Meditation Museum. Due to heavy snowfall, the museum is closed from December until late April of the following year.